언제나 함께 있었음 해 모든 게 다 통하니까 Feels like daydreaming 너와 있을 땐 난 I love my life 사라지지만 나의 전부 그 chemistry is like no other two 힘들었을 때마다 늘 함께 했던 너 yeah. 눈이 마주쳤던 그 순간 생각을 공유해 우리 둘 사이의 텔레파시 바라보고 있는 날 봐 And nowhere, nowhere can I find someone like you 한눈에 알아본 넌 나의 replica We don't need to see each other to know that we're on the same wavelength Oh yeah, why can't we just meet tomorrow 아직도 난 아직도 날 찾고 있어 매일이 매일이 난 네 생각하다 잠들어 My heart is beating for you waiting waiting 넌 헤매이고만 있어 I don't know what more to expect 물론 아니야 너는 나 나는 너라는 말은 하고 싶지 않아 정말 보러 갈게 바다 건너 난 널 모든 알게 말해줘 자고 싶지 않아 또 나는 홀로 우선 해보는 거야 나랑 YOLO Yeah 난 너와 나란히 가서 주말에 평범한 연인처럼 밥을 먹고 싶어 내 말 틀린 건 하나도 없어 안 될 거란 생각 이제 던져
I've been having a blast with the historical romance readathon. It's been full of fun, friends, reading, and challenges. And this video highlights my latest challenge. My co-lead Joanna for the Protector team is challenging me to read a romance fantasy book. And I'm going to be vlogging all about it. Hi, my name's B. Welcome to my channel, Mama Needs to Read Romance. And do a fantasy romance reading vlog for this readathon.
Waiting, waiting, 넌 헤매이고만 있어
If you've seen my channel before, you know I mostly do historical and contemporary romance. So when we started this readathon and I partnered up with Joanna to be the Protector team co-leads for the historical romance readathon, we were really excited about the prospect of recommending a book to each other in our favorite subgenre of romance. Joanna is all about fantasy, whereas as I said, I'm all about historical and contemporary. You may have already seen her vlog. If you haven't, check it out. I've got it linked above. She reads Again the Magic, which was my recommendation for her. But this video is going to be all about the book that Joanna recommended to me. I learned thanks to her. I used to think high fantasy was up here, low fantasy would be down here. But no, high fantasy is plenty of world building, lots of crazy names, lots of politics, and I tend to get lost because my life's kind of hectic. Low fantasy is probably more my jam, but I haven't read much, so I don't know. Today's book is what Joanna considers to be kind of mid-fantasy, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Really looking forward to getting into it. She says it's perfect for me because it has a cinnamon roll hero and there's plenty of romance. So I'm going into it blind. Other than that, I can't wait to dive in. Now in Joanna's vlog, she's traveling all over Europe. She's in Italy. She's traveling to Germany, going through Rome. Well, I'm a world traveler too, and in my first part of this vlog, we're going to World Market. That's right. Let's do this. Okay, hold on. Maybe don't let's do this yet. I started the book, I got completely lost. I had to ask Joanna for a lot of help. There's a chart apparently, so that's why she's considering this mid-fantasy as opposed to low fantasy. Low fantasy might be my thing, as I said, but she had to talk me through several plot points. There's a whole slew of books that are sort of interconnected. I think she's gotten me back on track. Any series that requires a chart, I'm gonna need a little more brain power to get through it. So now, let's travel the world to World Market. Thank goodness Joanna and I were messaging back and forth on Instagram this morning. I definitely needed help because there are things called fates, which are like gods actually, and they're stuck in a deck of cards. A whole lot going on. But the point that I have gathered, Evangeline is distraught because her sister is going to be marrying the love of her life. She goes to one of the churches. The door disappeared and she found the door somewhere else, went into this church and prayed to a statue that has the god in the church named Jack. He's the Prince of Hearts, I think. Anyway, she says, help me make sure this wedding doesn't go off. And he said, sure, but you need to kiss 3 people on the lips. And she says, okay. Then she discovers the way that he helped her was by turning everyone in the wedding party to stone. So she drinks a poison that turns her to stone for 6 weeks. And then she awakens. It brings all the fates out. They had been gone. Everybody's really excited. So they think she's a hero. They want her now to go to this special event with a prince, I think. It sounds really fun and magical. The prince is going to choose to dance with 5 women, and then he's going to pick the woman that he's going to marry. As you can see, I still have a shaky grasp on what's going on, but I think that's to be expected. We'll see what happens next. Just gone to the endless night where the Prince Apollo has to pick a bride, and it's getting very interesting. I'm really enjoying the description of all the cute clothes. I can tell this is YA because Jax is talking to her about kissing with tone. I'm making like a huge deal out of it. Wondering what Jax's game is. This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying this. Mid-fantasy, I think, is my speed. Anything higher than that, I get lost, but I'm keeping up pretty well, I think. As you can see, I need to change my decorations. It's not 4th of July anymore. I was gonna do beach, ran out of time. Now it's time for apples because it's fall. So we're really excited. I am now more than halfway through Once Upon a Broken Heart, and it's taken quite the turn. I didn't realize that it could get as heavy as it has because so far it's been interesting. We've been on some quests. It reminds me a little bit of Feyre in the first, I think, book of A Court of Thorns and Roses with the Weaver, you know, going to a scary woman's house. Is the Weaver a woman? I envisioned a woman, but I'm not sure actually. Anyway, up till now, there's been talking about the lost loves. That has been a more serious subject, but a lot of it again has been beautiful balls and costumes, dragons that can flame apples and things like that. You could have food at a fair that has been cooked by dragon fire, which sounds so fun. And some of the dragons are the size of chipmunks, which is so cute. Also, there's a story about a pen where you start writing with it and it helps you realize your dreams as you're drawing, like dreams for your life, which I thought was really neat. And I am getting the sense as I'm going along that the other stories that she mentioned in the chart where things are taking place at the same time, I'm very curious to read the other books in the series and see what else was happening. Another thing that I don't think I've mentioned yet that I found kind of funny, it reminds me of Bridgerton. There is a gentleman who is writing stories about what's going on in society. And of course, the society papers are knocking people down and causing an uproar. And it just reminds me of Lady Whistledown, but here we are in a fantasy world as opposed to historical romance. So kind of interesting. Anyway, I'm going to decorate for fall and then I'm going to read some more. it is really hard not to give spoilers because, man, part 3 of this book, things are going down. We started out a little bit more whimsical and just introducing magic, and now crazy things are happening. I'll tell you this, there's vampires. It's a little nuts. I was not anticipating vampires. I will tell you, there's some craziness happening, and Evangeline meets someone who kind of changed the game, what we thought we knew, who we thought we could trust, and what her role is in all of this. And we're still uncovering who Jax really is as a person. I'm at the last section coming up. In the next part, you're going to hear my thoughts on the end of the book and my rating. I'm going to one of my favorite used bookstores because I have to see if I can find some actual Diana Quincy or Erica Ridley. Just fell in love with both of those authors as I've been trying new things this month for the Historical Romance Readathon. And I'm going to glance around for Stephanie Garber to see if I can get any of the books in the series that this blog is all about. So we begin and end in the car. I just finished listening to the book, and I also am all sweaty because, as you just noticed, I just did a little book shopping at the used bookstore. I got some great things I'm very excited about. In fact, one of the books in the series, Caraval, which Joanna and I were talking about, so that was exciting. So let's talk. One thing I loved that this book did very well is the idea that people aren't necessarily good or bad. They could be a mix of the two. And isn't that just real life? I thought it was very deep. Evangeline is a lovely character. I loved how she was willing to believe the best in people, unlike Jax. He is a very complicated character. A common thing that I found in a lot of the main characters is that they want to be loved, and that is their driving force. And I find that really, really interesting. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially teens who also have the strong emotions like the Fates do. The Fates being like the demigods. I will give this book 4 stars. Very deep, a lot of fun. I could follow it pretty well, although at the very end I was like, am I supposed to know what this is? So I was embarrassed. I had to ask Joanna. She'll get back to me. She's 5 hours ahead right now in Italy, so she's asleep. This book ended in a cliffhanger. I need to read more of these books in the series for sure. Oh man, Joanna, what did you do? But anyway, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I do believe I will be reading more Stephanie Garber in the future. Thanks for hanging out with me. That is all for me. That's more than enough, right? I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're enjoying whatever it is you're reading, whether it's YA fantasy or not. Until next time, thanks so much. Take care. Bye.